If you've ever struggled to make a magic ring, then hello and welcome to my channel. Get ready for the easiest methods ever. I'm going to show you my favorite way of making one. No wrapping, looping, or making X's. It's so simple. And then I'm going to show you two alternatives. If you're worried about your magic ring unraveling, then you'll love these other methods. You're going to start with the tail in your right hand and then hold your left hand in front of you, palm down. Bring the tail up through your pointer and middle fingers, and then drape it over your pointer finger. And now you're going to flip your hand over and pinch the working yarn with your ring and pinky finger to your palm. And you want to have your pointer finger sticking out. And now you're going to rest the tail on your middle finger and pinch that spot with your thumb. And so that's how it's looking now, kind of like I'm clicking with my pointer finger up. And now you're going to take the tail and loop it under the point that you're pinching. So there's my tail. I'm going to make a loop and put that point under the point I was pinching. And now you're just going to insert your hook face down, grab the yarn, bring it through the loop, and then twist the hook towards you and up, and then just make your starting chain and work into the circle as normal. And there you go. That is my absolute favorite magic ring method. At the end, you'll just pull that nice and tight and continue as normal. That is my all-time favorite method ever. This next alternative is my go-to when I don't want to worry about my magic ring coming undone, like for a blanket or a bag, something that's going to be used and washed and I want it to last a long time. So all you're going to do is make a slip knot and pop that on your hook. And now you're going to chain one. We're going to work all of our stitches into this chain. So after you've made your first chain, you're going to chain whatever your turning chain is. And so typically, if you're doing single crochets, that's going to be 1, 2 chains for half double crochet, 3 for double, 4 for treble, and so on. And so now I have 2 chains, and I'm going to insert my hook into the back bump of the first one. And if I'm making a typical first round, I'll be working 6 single crochets total. And so I'll do the first 3 working into the back bump of this chain. And now I'm going to work the last 3 under the top loops. Once you're done, you'll just pull the tail tight to shrink that hole, and then at the very end, when you weave in your tail, it's going to shrink and close that hole up even more. So easy. Love this one. And the last method is one that I personally don't use, but it is loved for a reason. So you're going to make a slip knot, pop that on your hook, and then chain 3. And now you're just going to insert your hook under the top loops of the very first chain. And then grab your working yarn and make a slip stitch. And so I did use some chunkier yarn. It's a little bit harder to see, but I have just made a ring to work into. And so if I was doing single crochets, I would just insert my hook into that little hole in the middle and work as normal. And then at the very end, again, pull the tail to tighten up that hole, and when you weave it in, it'll shrink even more. These are a few projects that I've made over the years with the very first technique, and as you can see, they have held up very well. So I would definitely 10 out of 10 recommend that. But these are also projects that I'm not using every single day. They're not, they're treated very gently. I'm not putting them in the wash. I'm not doing anything crazy with them. And so these are a few examples of projects that I've made and I'm working on where I use the second method. As you can see, there's no visible hole. And I know that this is going to last a really long time, which I love. And these are some hexagons for a blanket that I'm currently working on. And again, there's no hole that you can see. And so I know that it's not going to come undone or anything like that. Love method 2. And I've actually used method 3 before when making my little flower bag. All of these centers were made out of chaining 6 and slip stitching to the first one. And so there's my example of a project using method number 3. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that I was able to help you out. Let me know down in the comments if you have any questions or comments, and I'll try my best to get back to you. But as always, happy crocheting and stay lucky!